Good evening, all of you. In the last session, we discussed about what is SNS in the AWS. Can anyone tell me what is SNS in the AWS?
It's a
Can,
simple notification service.
SNS is a simple notification service which is used to send the notifications for the subscribers, which is used to send the notifications to the subscribers. Okay, now when we go for SNS, directly are we going to send the notifications, or we are going to create a topic in the SNS?
We create a topic in the SNS.
Now we are going to take a SNS, we are going to use SNS service, right? What we are doing in this SNS service? What we are doing in this SNS service, guys? We are creating a topic in the SNS. What is the purpose of the topic in the SNS? What is the purpose of topic in the SNS? If you have topic in the SNS, then we can send the notifications from one application to another application. Now here, one application is available. Assume that here I have one application, and here I have another application. Now in this SNS, we are going to create a topic where we can store our messages. One application can send a message to the topic, then another application can subscribe to that message. So that is notification service in the AWS. If you want to send a message from one application to another application, then we are going for SNS. All right, next one, we discussed about another concept called CloudWatch concept. Could you please tell me what is the purpose of this CloudWatch? What is the purpose of CloudWatch?
Trigger alarm.
Resource utilization checking, all this alarm.
CloudWatch is all about monitoring performances of the services in the AWS. My EC2 instance is running. How much CPU is utilizing by EC2 instance? Okay. How much network using by EC2 instance? I want to monitor. You just want to monitor, or you want to trigger some alarms also by using this CloudWatch?
Trigger some alarms using CloudWatch.
I just don't want to monitor. I want to monitor and I want to trigger the alarm also. What I am doing, what I have done in the yesterday's session is I have taken one EC2 instance. Guys, you remember what we have done in the last session? In the last session, I have taken one EC2 instance. I have taken one EC2 instance. For this EC2, in this EC2 instance, operating system is available. Now, I have configured a CloudWatch for the EC2. In this CloudWatch, I have configured one alarm. I am configured one alarm. In this CloudWatch, I configured one alarm. For this alarm, I have configured a threshold. What is the threshold? What is the threshold I have configured for this alarm, guys?
Condition.
I have configured one condition. What is the condition I have configured for this?
If the CPU is being used 5% or 10%.
In this alarm, I have configured a condition. What is my condition? Is CPU is greater than or equal to 5%. Then what is this alarm is going to do? This alarm is going to send a message to SNS. What this SNS is doing? Then this SNS is doing
email.
Yeah, that is what we have configured yesterday. All of you able to practice?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How I am able to increase the load on the EC2?
By using
Stress.
There is a software called Stress software. I have created one EC2 instance. For that EC2 instance, I have configured a CloudWatch with alarm. In that alarm, I configured a threshold. If the CPU utilization is greater than or equal to 5%, then you push a message to SNS topic. SNS topic is having an email subscription. Whenever a message comes to the topic, then SNS is going to send the email notification for that. Are you clear with my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good. So with this, we completed. What services we completed so far, guys? Can anyone tell me?
Sir, we can add multiple LBS, right? Sir, we can add, sir.
Sorry?
We can add multiple LBS.
Load balancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. Multiple load balancers also you can configure. Okay, I will cover that scenario. Fine.
Someone asked me, sir, in the interview how to.
Sure, sir. I will address that. Question. Okay. Next one. Guys, can you tell me what we have learned so far in the AWS? What are the services we completed in the AWS?
EC2.
Very important thing is what?
EC2.
We completed EC2
EC2.
service in the AWS. Can you tell me what we can do by using EC2?
You can launch instance
Virtual
server.
instance
We
Virtual
can launch
instance.
virtual machines.
Machine.
Launch virtual machines. Now, after that, we discussed about EBS. What is this EBS?
Elastic
What is this
Block
EBS?
Storage.
Elastic block storage.
Yeah, elastic
Block
block
storage.
storage. Elastic block storage. Why we are using this elastic block storage?
To
To
store
get
the
common
data,
in memory.
additional
To
volume.
add the additional
We add
values,
additional
we are
memory.
going for EBS.
Yes.
To add the additional memory, additional space for our system, we are going for EBS. What is the default root volume we are getting?
8 GB.
For Linux, 8
GB
GB.
In the Linux, it is 8 GB. In the Windows, it is 30 GB.
30 GB.
So generally, for the production deployments, are we going to use Windows operating systems, or we are going to use Linux operating systems?
Linux
operating
So the
system.
default Linux capacity 8 GB.
8 GB.
So if that is not sufficient for you, then you go with the additional
EBS.
value. How to set up additional volume for the EC2 instances? How to set up additional volumes for EC2 instances?
You have to select the
By you adding a EBS.
EBS.
By adding a
EBS.
EBS. Additional volumes we are going to set up by using EBS. That is called elastic block storage. Elastic block storage. We discussed about how to add the elastic block storage for our machine, how to mount it, how to store the data, and we attached that volume from one EC2 to another EC2 by using snapshots. Did we practice that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, after this EBS, we discussed about load balancer. What is the purpose of load balancer?
To increase or decrease
Distribute
the
the load in
Distribute
multiple
the load.
servers.
Yes. To distribute the load to multiple servers. Okay. Which load balancer we used? Application load balancer.
Load balancer.
Then we used one more service in the AWS, which is called auto scaling. What is the purpose of auto scaling? To
increase or
scale
To
up
increase
and
and
to scale
decrease
down.
server.
Yeah, to scale up and scale down based on the traffics. To scale up and scale down based on the traffic. Based on the traffic. After this auto scaling, we discussed about S3. We discussed about S3. Can anyone tell me what is this S3?
Storage area.
Unlimited storage. S3 is for what purpose?
Unlimited.
Unlimited storage. Can we call it as simple storage service?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, simple storage service. And we
Sir,
are able to do static website hosting also. Static website hosting also we can do by using S3. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, we can access S3 bucket with our command line interface as well, no, sir.
Yes, sir. AWS CLI is there. I have to explain that part. I have not covered the CLI. CLI concept is there. I will discuss about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now, so you understand, right? What is the S3 and what is the purpose of S3?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is the purpose of S3?
To store it is a container to store the
Yeah, unlimited storage that we can do by using S3 buckets. Can I deploy a static website by using S3?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and for S3, we can create the buckets. In the bucket, we can store the objects. Every object can be up to 5 TB. Unlimited buckets you can create. Unlimited data you can store in the S3. It is a storage service. Then after S3, we discussed about Route 53, guys. What is the purpose of Route 53?
Domain names.
Domain names mapping to IP address. Domain name mapping. Domain name mapping. So we purchased a domain name called ashokit.org. Then I mapped that domain to my S3 buckets. You can map it to ELB URL. and you can map it to S3 bucket, you can map it to UPC like that. There are several ways that you can do domain name mapping. So basically it is used to deal with DNS, guys. It is used to deal with the DNS. DNS nothing but domain name service. DNS nothing but domain name service. After Route 53, which service we discussed?
RDS.
We discussed very important, guys. For every project we will use RDS. What is the purpose of RDS? Databases. Which databases?
Relational
Relational
database.
database.
We are going to use relational databases,
Database.
like we use MySQL database here. If your project is dealing with big data,
DynamoDB.
DynamoDB. DynamoDB is a what type of database?
NoSQL.
DynamoDB is a NoSQL
NoSQL.
database. After this DynamoDB, what else we discussed? IAM.
IAM.
Yes, sir.
IAM. What is the purpose of IAM?
Identity access management.
Identity and access management. Identity access management. What is the purpose of identity access management?
To give specific
permission specific
To give the specific permissions, creating the policies, creating the users, creating the groups, IAM, identity access management. And we have done MFA. What is the purpose of MFA? Mobile authentication.
No, sir.
Multi-factor authentication.
Multi-factor authentication for the root accounts. Why we will use MFA?
additional security.
Additional
Security.
security, because root account will have the complete access for AWS resources. So it is not at all recommended to use. It is not at all recommended to use root accounts for your regular work. So which accounts we will use for the regular work? IAM account we will
IAM.
use. We will create the user groups. We will add the policies for the groups. What is the meaning of a policy?
It is the rule.
Permission.
Rule,
basically.
what they can do, what they
Yes.
can access in the AWS that we can customize by using policies. Okay, so there are some predefined policies are available. Can we create custom policies also?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
we
sir.
have some full access policies are available. Read access policies are available. Depends on the requirement. We can create our own policies also. One more thing you guys forgot, that is elastic beanstalk.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did we discuss about it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is the elastic beanstalk?
It will provide
It's a
platform as a
platform
service.
as a service.
Platform has a
Easily we can deploy our web applications. It provides platform.
Platform.
It provides a platform to run our web applications. Do you need to bother about infrastructure setup, or it will take care of
No,
the
sir.
infrastructure?
It will take care.
of the infrastructure.
You no need to set up the infrastructure for your project. You just upload your code. Then it will provide the platform for you to run your application. Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk making AWS as PaaS, right?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Platform.
Can we call
Platform as
AWS
service.
is doing support for PaaS also?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
AWS is providing the platform as a service with the
Service.
help of Elastic Beanstalk.
Beanstalk.
Very good. Very good. Next, we discussed about one more service in the AWS that is called SNS. Yesterday only we discussed about it. SNS. What is the purpose of SNS?
Simple notification service.
Simple notification service. So to whom we can send the notifications? Can I send a notification from one application to another application?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I can send the notification from one application to another application. And yesterday I have sent a notification from one application to another application. I have sent a notification from one application to a person.
Yes, sir.
I sent a notification to my personal mail ID now.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, tomorrow, when you are working in the real time, you will send a notification to one person email ID, or you will send a notification to the DL.
DL.
You will send a notification to one person, or you will send a notification to the DL.
We'll send it to DL.
We will send the notification to the DL. What is the meaning of DL?
Group mail ID.
Group of
Mail.
group.
All the team members' mail IDs will be configured as a DL. Whenever we are sending a notification, we will send the notification to the DL. Then after we discussed about CloudWatch. What is the purpose of CloudWatch in the AWS?
To monitor
performance.
To monitor the performance of
Performance
all
of
services in the
services.
AWS. To monitor AWS services performance. To monitor AWS services performance, we are going to use CloudWatch concept. Wow. Before this,
Snapshot and
that's fine. Before that EC2, we discussed about
Agile.
Linux,
Oh.
Linux
Scripting,
OS, Linux commands,
command
shell scripting.
Yes, sir.
Shell scripting. These are the three things also we have covered as part of our syllabus. Then after we started with the AWS. Then after we started with our AWS cloud. AWS cloud, we discussed about regions. Did we discuss about regions and
Availability zones.
availability zones, right?
Yes, sir.
Regions and availability zones we discussed. We discussed about key pairs. We discussed about security groups. Security groups. Then we discussed about volumes, snapshots, and all. Do you guys, are you guys comfortable with whatever we covered so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How it is helping in your companies, guys? Can anybody share their experience? How it is helping for you? Are you confident whatever we learned, is it worthy of spending this 2 months of time?
Yes, sir.
Linux operating system, we understand Linux is a multi-user operating system. Mostly 99.9% of the times in the companies to set up the infrastructure, we will use Linux OS only. And Linux commands, Linux is Linux supports GUI and CLI. We are purchasing the Linux computer or we are taking a virtual computer? We are taking a virtual computer. Then how to perform the operations on the virtual computer? CLI. Okay, Linux commands we are executing with the help of putting. Then what is the purpose of shell scripting in the Linux, guys? What is the purpose of doing the shell scripting?
To automate some tasks.
Shell scripting is used to automate our tasks. Whatever the regular work that you do manually, that regular work that you are doing manually can be automated by using this shell scripting. Right. Next one, AWS cloud. AWS providing cloud services as infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. If you want the platform from the AWS to just run your application, go for Elastic Beanstalk. If you want to set up your own infrastructure, you can set up the things on your own as per your requirement to run your application. AWS providing the services only for one country, or it is providing the services for several countries?
Several countries.
AWS providing the services for several countries. For how many countries AWS providing the services?
26.
26 countries.
180, 100 plus.
26 zones.
190 countries. 190 countries. AWS is supporting, guys. In the world, 190 plus countries are using the AWS services. How AWS is providing this global infrastructure? With the help of regions and availability zones. What is a region? Sarang, please mute your mic. You are making some noise, man. What is a region?
Geographical location.
Region means one geographical location. Then what is availability zone? Data center. Availability zone, nothing but data center. In the India, we have a Mumbai region with 3 data centers. So always when you are using AWS cloud, it is recommended to use nearby region. Connected to the nearby region, then performance will be speed for you. Next one, key pair. AWS providing the security for the EC2 instances by using key pairs. Public key will be available, private key will be available. AWS will store the public key and you store the private key. Okay, now when you want to connect with the EC2, you need to use that key, then only you can connect it. What is the purpose of security groups? What is the purpose of security groups?
Who can access our traffic?
Protocol we want to, who can access? Who can access?
Access.
Who can access our machine? Which port we need to allow? That we need to go with the security group. Guys, I have a question. I don't want to allow that particular person IP address. Can I restrict it by using security group? Particular IP address, I don't want to allow. Now, suppose if the traffic is coming from South Africa, I don't want to allow. Can I do that by using security group?
No.
Can we do it or we cannot do it?
No.
We can do it.
That is the interview question, guys. Now, suppose my application running in the AWS cloud, if the traffic is coming from the Pakistan, I don't want to allow. Can we do that?
Yes, sir.
Any particular person there is a person called Raju. If the request is coming from the Raju laptop, I don't want to allow that request. Can I do that?
Yes, sir.
No, security
sir.
group will not support for that. Security group will deal with only who can
IP address. Yes.
who can allow, who can be allowed, that you can do with the security group. If you want to deny, then there is a concept called NACL. There is a concept called NACL.
NACL.
We'll come to that NACL concept. Don't worry. Security group will only deal with who can access. We cannot configure a deny by using security group. Understand my point? Very, very, very important question. In the interview, they will ask you, I don't want to allow a request from the particular IP. Can you block it in the security group? You cannot block, because security group will support only for the allow. It will not support for the deny. Sir, then how can I deny a particular request? There is another level of security that is called NACL. We'll talk about that NACL. Good. Next one, EC2. What is the full form of EC2? Elastic Cloud Compute or Elastic Compute Cloud?
Compute cloud.
Elastic
Ah.
Compute Cloud.
Certification question, full form of EC2. Elastic Compute Cloud. What purpose we are using EC2?
Launch and
Create
Ah,
virtual machines.
to launch virtual machines. We need to launch the virtual machines for our requirement. To set up the infrastructure, we need a machine. That machine we can launch by using EC2. EBS. EBS stands for Elastic Block Storage. That means by default for the Linux machine, we are getting 8 GB space. By default for the Linux machine, we are getting 8 GB space. If that 8 GB space is not sufficient, then you can add additional volume. You can add the additional volume for your machine by using EBS. By default, for every machine, EBS root volume will be available. If the root volume is not sufficient for you, then you need to go for additional volume for your machine by using EBS, Elastic Block Storage. Up to 16 DB you can add by using EBS. What is the purpose of load balancing? If the application is running on only one server, that server may not handle the load which is coming for our application. So to distribute the load, to improve the performance of our application, we go for load balancer. Can anyone tell me how many types of load balancers we have in the AWS?
4.
Present 3. One is outdated.
Yeah, what are those three?
Application network.
Application.
Load balancer, gateway load
Application net.
What are the load balancers we have in the AWS, guys?
application load
Application load
balancer, network load
Network.
balancer, gateway load balancer, classic load balancer,
Application load balancer,
network
load balancer, gateway load
gateway
balancer.
load balancer.
And classic load balancer is available, that is going to outdate from the 15 August. Okay, right. Next one. What is the purpose of auto scaling? Can you tell me what is the purpose of auto scaling?
To increase
Scale
and
in
decrease
and
the server.
scale out, depends on the
Based
load.
on the number of requests, it will be automatically up.
To scale up, to scale down the resources based on the request. If the traffic is more, big billion day. If the traffic is coming more, then you can increase the servers. If the traffic is coming less, then you can decrease your servers by using auto scaling groups. Next one. What is S3? What is S3?
Unlimited storage.
Unlimited storage.
Unlimited storage. Now, can you tell me what are the storage classes available in the S3? Do you remember the storage classes in the S3?
Standard 1A, redundancy class, and
Standard
glacier.
IOPS.
Standard IOPS.
General purpose.
General
storage.
purpose.
General
Standard or
purpose.
throat.
Come on.
Cold.
Throat.
Magnetic. Cold.
No, glacier,
क्या कर रहे हैं भाई साहब?
frequently accessed, infrequently accessed,
Frequently
And-
accessed, infrequently accessed,
reduced redundancy,
reduced redundancy,
and glacier.
glacier. One more thing is there. If you don't know the frequency, which one you will use? I don't know how many times I am going to access my data, then which storage class I will use?
Historical,
That is glacier. Historical means glacier.
Standard we will use.
No.
Intelligence.
Intelligence
intelligence.
intelligence one. If you know that, if you want to access more than once in a month, then go for frequent access storage class. Suppose you are not going to access more than once in a month also, then go for infrequent access. Okay, so if you don't know how many times you are going to access, then go for intelligent storage class. If you want to store the historical data, Purana data, that means I may not access in a year or months, quarterly, something like that, then what should I do? Then we will go for glacier. Okay, those are the storage classes in the S3. What is versioning in the S3? What is versioning in the S3? Guys,
Differentiate between old and new.
Differentiate old and new data.
we can differentiate the old data and new data by using S3 versions.
Version.
Okay, next one. What is accelerator transfer?
It is the service provided by the AWS for the speed, high speed.
If your network is slow, then you can use the AWS network for a high performance, that is called accelerator transfer. What is encryption?
Secure the data.
Secure the data. Next one, what is something we discussed about the same region and cross region? CORS,
Yes, yes.
SRS, CRS, CORS. What is CORS and SRS? If you want to replicate the data from one region to another region, then go for CORS. If you want to replicate the data in the same region, then you can go for SRS. Same region replication. Cross region replication, same region replication. And we can do the static website hosting also. All right, static website hosting is available. You can do the deployment of your static websites by using S3S. What is the welcome page that we are going to configure? Index.html. And the error page we will configure as error.html. Can you tell me what is a pre-signed URL? What is pre-signed URL?
It is the temporary URL.
Duration.
We can set the time to access that URL. After that particular time, that URL is going to expire. Got it? Now, guys, S3 is a global service or S3 is a regional service?
S3 is a global service.
Global
S3 is a
service.
global service,
Buckets
but
is
buckets
a
are
regional
regional
service.
service.
S3 is global, but buckets are
Regional
regional.
service.
Regional
So
service.
how we will store the data in the S3 buckets?
Content.
No. How we will store the data in the S3 buckets?
Objects.
Objects. What should be the max size of object?
5 GB for the
5
single.
GB, huh?
5 TB.
5 TB.
5
16
TB.
TB. No. 5 TB.
For the
16 TB is the
single
getting
5 GB.
confused, guys. 16 TB for the black storage. Okay. In
For the
S3,
bucket is
5 TV at a
5
single
TB.
time price.
per bucket it is
5 GB, sir.
5 TB.
GB or TB.
GB, sir, not
TB.
AB, I think.
Single at a
In
time you
single
can
point,
upload 5 GB, but
5
it is
GB.
5 TB capacity. 5 TB
Okay.
capacity. 5
Okay,
TB
at a time we
capacity.
can upload 5 GB data. Okay.
At a time we can upload 5 GB data and max capacity is the 5 TB.
TB.
And how much data I can store in S3? It is unlimited.
Unlimited.
How much data I can store in the black storage? Additional value?
16 TB.
16 TB.
EBS will support up to 16 TB.
16 TB.
S3 will store unlimited.
Yes.
S3 will store unlimited. Then what is Route 53?
Domain name service.
For
The
mapping.
domain name
Generally,
Generally, when we are deploying our application in the S3 bucket or when we deploy our application in a server, a long URL will be generated for our applications, or long domain name will be generated for our long host name will be generated for our load balancer. Is it recommended to give that long URLs to the public to access our application?
No, sir.
No.
It's not at
No,
all
no.
recommended to give that long URL to the public to access our application. Then what you will do with the URLs? You will purchase a domain name in the AWS. Then
Register.
you route the domain name to long URL. How to do the domain name mapping to the IP address or S3 bucket or load balancer URL? Route 53 we are going to use. What is the name server in the Route 53? What is the name server in the Route 53?
To divert the route.
Yes, name servers are used to map the request to the particular domain name. Okay. Now, hosted zone name servers, domain name server should be same.
same.
Good. Next one. What is Elastic Beanstalk?
It is a platform as a service.
Platform
Right.
provider.
I'm not
Provided.
interested to set up all this infrastructure manually. I'm not interested to set up all this infrastructure manually. I want ready-made solution. Simple, man. You want a shirt and pant for your birthday. Will you purchase a cloth and stitch that cloth, shirt, pant, take the measurement, stitch everything? Or even ready-made
No,
shirt, pant?
Ready-made shirt and pant.
Ready-made shirt and pant. Similarly, is AWS providing the ready-made environment to run your application?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If you want, you can set up the infrastructure, you create EC2, you install the server, you create the S3, you set up the database, you run your project, security group, you do everything. But there are some lazy people who don't want to do all these things. They want ready-made solution. So is AWS supporting for platform as a service concept?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
AWS is supporting for platform as a service concept. So by which service it is providing the platform as a service?
Elastic Beanstalk.
Elastic
AWS is
Beanstalk.
providing the service by using Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, right. Now, for every application, database is required to store the data. How many types of databases we can see in the market nowadays?
Two types.
Types of databases we can see in the market nowadays. What are those two types of databases?
Relational and non-relational.
Relational and non-relational.
We can see two types of databases. One is relational
Relational.
database, another one is non-relational
Non-relational.
databases. Now, can you tell me when should I go for the relational database?
Structured.
When you
Structured.
want to
Format.
when you want to deal with the structured data, then we should go for relational databases. How we will store the data in the relational databases?
Tables. The tables.
Column.
We are
Rows and
going
columns.
we are going to store the data in the form of tables and columns. The tables will have a relation. When we should go for NoSQL databases?
When the data is not structured.
When the data is not structured or the data is semi-structured, the big data, if your data doesn't have any structure, then you can go for NoSQL database. So now, in order to work with NoSQL databases in the AWS, which service we have?
RDS.
DynamoDB.
Arey Baba,
DynamoDB.
NoSQL database.
DynamoDB.
DynamoDB. Now, under RDS, what databases that AWS is supporting?
MySQL, Amazon,
Only MySQL,
Aurora.
No, sir.
Amazon,
MariaDB.
Amazon Aurora, MySQL, Oracle, SQL, MS SQL, like that. There are several databases, several SQL databases are available. Our AWS is supporting for those SQL databases. Chalo, okay. Now, so how many types of accounts we can use in the AWS?
Root account and
Root account and IAM account. Root
IAM
account and IAM account. What is a root account in the AWS?
It access the all AWS services.
The account which is having the complete access in the AWS resources is called as a root account. If you create an account in the AWS, now you are a first time user for the AWS, then what type of account you will create?
Root account.
Root account. When you create an account in the AWS, by default that account will become root account. Root account will have complete access. Total AWS resources you can control by using root account. Is it recommended to operate the AWS services using root account, or it is not recommended? Not recommended. It is not at all recommended to use the root account. How can we provide additional security for the root account in the AWS?
Using IAM.
MFA.
MFA, multi-factor authentication. Additional security you can provide for the root account by using multi-factor authentication. Very good. Multi-factor authentication we can provide by using virtual device, as well as we can provide physical device. What is the meaning of a physical device? They will give you one token generator machine. I think you have seen a movie called Nanak Premato. Junior NTR will use one token machine. Na?
Yes, sir.
Jagapati Babu will use a token machine. When you enter the password to log in into the bank, a token number will be generated. He will enter the token number, then he will be logged in into the bank account. That is a physical token generator. Okay, but are we using that physical devices, or we are using a virtual device?
Virtual device.
What is the virtual device we are using for MFA?
Mobile.
Mobile authenticator, Google Authenticator we are using to generate the MFA code. That is the additional security. So if somebody knows about your email ID and password of the root account also, they cannot log in unless they have the MFA device. Got it? That is the additional security. Next one. What is IAM user?
in the
Yes.
access
Permissions.
management.
It was the specific permission.
Specific permissions we are going to provide now. I have a database team in my project. Am I going to provide the root account credentials for the team to access the AWS?
No,
No. For
we'll
the
create
database
IAM.
users, I will create for database users. For database team, I will create a group.
IAM account. Yes.
Now, is it recommended to provide the policies for every individual user? Or recommended to provide the policies for the users group?
Users group.
Users group.
It's not at all recommended to provide the permissions for the individual users in the AWS, guys, because if you provide a permission to individual person, tomorrow that person resigned for the company, then there is a problem or not?
Yes.
Yes or no? There is a problem or not? Right. So because will you stay in the company for 100 years?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
3 years is more than
No. There is a slogan in the IT. Rolling stone gains more mass. Company change karo, acha package le lo. If you change the company, then you will get good package. Generally, IT engineers should change the job for every 2 to 2.5 years. If you stay more than 3 years in the company, आप idiot हो जाएगा. You will become lazy. You cannot switch the job. You will go to comfort zone. Always comfort zone is dangerous. That's why you need to switch the companies for every 2.5 years or 3 years, guys. Now my experience is 9 years. This is my 4th company. So like that, you need to change your companies. Then only you will understand all these technologies. Tell me now, if I work in the same company for these 9 years, can I learn these many technologies?
No, sir.
Java, Java, Spring Boot, AWS, DevOps, Angular, Linux, React.js. It's impossible to learn all these things if you work in the same company for many years. I have changed 4 different companies. I got very good opportunity to deal with all these technologies, guys. So that's what you need to change your companies for every 2.5 years or 3 years maximum. Don't stay more than that. Okay. And if you change the company, companies will give you good packages. So that's why. So employees are not going to stay in the company for a long time. So is it recommended to provide the policies, permissions for single user? Not at all recommended. Then how to provide the policies for the users?
Groups.
Create the users, add the users to a group. Now for a database team, create one database group, give the database permissions for that group. Create one EC2 group, give the EC2 permissions for that group. S3 buckets, create S3 buckets group, add the users, provide the permissions for them. Okay, that is always recommended. Now in the IAM, we will create the users, we will add the policies. What is the meaning of policies in the IAM, guys? What is the meaning of policies in the IAM?
He set up rules person.
IAM
service
nothing
can
but
access.
identity and access management. Who can access which service in the AWS, that we can control by using IAM. AWS itself is providing some predefined policies. If you are not satisfied with those policies, with those
Custom
policies,
policies.
Custom policy.
do you know how to create a custom policy?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we know how to create a custom policy. There is a visual editor. Now, how those policies will be saved in the AWS?
JSON format.
JSON format. How the policies will be stored in the AWS, guys? JSON format. Some people know JSON, some people don't know JSON. That's why AWS provided a concept called visual editor. Visual editor. Very good. Next, we discussed about SNS. SNS purpose. Come on. What is the purpose of SNS?
To send notification.
Send
Notifications, to send the alerts, to send the notification to the users, to send the notification to the mails, mobiles, another applications. We can go for a simple notification service. Then what is CloudWatch?
We can monitor
Monitor the performance of the
CloudWatch is used to monitor the performance. So can we create a CloudWatch to monitor CPU utilization of your machine? Yes, we can do we can create a CloudWatch to monitor the CPU performance. CloudWatch is just for monitoring purpose, or it can even trigger the alarms also.
Trigger the alarms also.
By using alarm, can you push a message to the topic? Yes, we can push the message to the topic. We can push the message to the topic. Very good. Very good.
Sir, can I ask one doubt, sir?
Yeah, please.
In relational database and when it comes to non-DB, Which ones, suppose in real time, could you please give us some examples of the companies that like the applications?
So yes, sir, we will give you. I will come to that scenario now. Now, when you go for e-commerce applications, multiple people will use these applications. Several types of data will be there. Some ratings will be available. Some reviews will be available. Likes will be available. Unlikes will be available. There will not have any structure for the data. Okay. Then you will go for NoSQL databases. For example, you want to develop a project with insurance policies. Some structure will be there now. Who is belongs to which policy, how much amount he is going to get, like that. There you will use. There will be some structure. Then you will go for relational databases. When your project is generating different kinds of data from different sources, then the data will not have any structure. For that you will use NoSQL databases. Okay, and being a AWS engineer, you no need to bother about what database we need to use, because who will decide the database?
The architect.
When the project requirement will come, then they will decide the database. They will tell you which database you need to create. You no need to do the brainstorming to understand which database to create. Your duty is not for doing the architecture of the project. Your duty, once the architecture is finalized, what services we need to use in the AWS, that you have to set up. Okay.
For the developers, question they are asking, sir.
Yeah, for developer they can ask. No, for the developer they will ask you.
Yeah, when I give an interview, they are asking these questions.
Typically, we deploy the code, a new log stream is created in CloudWatch. How they do that?
Sorry, can you come again?
When we deploy, when we merge any PR, CI/CD start deployment, and every time after deployment, a new log stream is started in CloudWatch. How they do that?
Sure, sir. I will configure that. We are going to implement a project now. In that project scenario, I will explain.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Right, guys. We are able to revise everything within 45 minutes of time. Whatever we learnt in the 2.5 months, we are able to revise in the 45 minutes of time. I think some people forgot some concepts. Can you tell me EC2 family members?
We forgot the snapshots.
No, snapshot that we remember, we can add. Now, can you tell me how many types of EC2 instances available? Certification question. How many types of EC2 instances available?
General purpose, CPU, memory
General
storage,
purpose,
CPU
general purpose, spot instances, dedicated host instances.
Reserved instances, sir. Reserved instance.
Reserved instances, spot instances, dedicated host, general purpose. Now, which EC2 family member we are using?
General
Purpose. What is the family? What is the name of that? We are using that EC2 category. Which category of EC2 we are using?
T2.micro.
Micro. Why we are using only T2.micro?
It is a
Free
free
tier.
trial.
It is a free tier eligible. What is the minimum billing period for the AWS EC2 instance?
1 hour.
1
hour.
If I use it 5 minutes and close it,
1 hour.
It's considered
1
as
hour.
1 hour. 1 hour.
it will consider it as a 1
1
hour.
hour.
So the minimum billing period for the EC2 instance is 1 hour.
1 hour.
EC2 is a global service or EC2 is a regional service?
Regional service.
Regional service.
EC2 is a regional service. Good. What is the purpose of volumes?
Have the
Add
persistent
extra space.
Extra space. What is the purpose of snapshot?
Volumes backup.
backup.
Volumes backup is called as a snapshot. Got it? Snapshots are specific to availability zone, or snapshots are specific to regional?
Regional.
Snapshots are regional scope, or snapshots are availability zone specific?
Regional.
Regional, sir.
Snapshots are regional specific. Availability zone specific or regional scope? Regional scope. What about volumes?
Availability zone.
Availability zones.
Volumes are availability zone specific. Okay. Can I attach a snapshot for the instance directly?
No, sir.
No.
No. Then what should I do?
To
Attached
create
to
the
it.
volumes attach the EC2 instance.
From EC2 you can create a volume. From the volume you can create a snapshot. From the snapshot you can create a volume. Volume you can attach to EC2. Directly can we attach a snapshot to the EC2 instance?
No.
No.
Directly it is not possible to attach the snapshot to the EC2 instance. The volumes backup is called as a snapshot.
Snapshot.
Very good. Right, guys. So how many services we completed so far? Can you count them once? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Around
8,
15.
9, 10, 11, 12. Around 12 services we have completed in the AWS. Good. These are very demanded services and very frequently used services in every project. Okay. Another service which is very important in the AWS. Without using that service, people will not use the AWS for the projects. But why I have not explained that important service as of now is that is not that much easy. It is little confusing and little complex service, but without that service, we don't implement AWS cloud for our project. Can you guess what is that service?
VPC.
Exactly. What is that service, guys? VPC. VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. Several times we used VPC in our AWS classes, but we don't know. Can you create a EC2 instance without VPC?
No, sir.
No.
By
Not
default, it will
possible.
create.
Not possible. Can you create a RDS without VPC?
No.
Not possible. Not possible. Can you create S3 bucket without VPC?
No.
Not possible. So most of the services in the AWS will use VPC service. Without using that VPC, we cannot implement AWS cloud for our project. Guys, this VPC we cannot complete within 1 day or 2 days of time. It may take 3 to 5 days, 4 to 5 days of time, or maybe 1 week also it may take. Another big service in the AWS, that is VPC, very important. At the same time, it is little complex also. Why? Because in order to understand this VPC, we need to know some networking concepts. We need to know networking concepts. We need to know IP addresses. IP addresses we need to configure. IP address classification we need to know. And IPv4, IPv6 differences we need to know. And we need to know networking concepts also. Then only you can understand this VPC concept. This VPC is damn important. VPC is damn important. Shall we start now? Introduction for VPC.
Yes, sir.
One guy feeling hungry, huh?
No.
Right. Chalo. Let's start with VPC. Guys, let's understand VPC, guys. Don't miss the classes. But unfortunately, in this week, I will take 2 leaves, guys. Actually, I need to go out of station due to my personal work. 2 days classes will not be available. I will tell you. Tomorrow I will confirm. Actually, I need to go for a marriage function in the Anantapur. It is very far from here. I will be taking 2 days leave. I will tell you when those 2 days. Actually, marriage is on 21st, but I'm going on 20th or 21st. I will confirm. 2 days leaves I need from this batch. I will tell you at what dates the classes will not be available. But before going to do that, before going to take the leave, I will give you the introduction part for the VPC. Once I come back from that, then we will implement the VPC practically. Mostly by this week, we will complete half of the VPC. We will complete half of the VPC. In the next week, I will take few other classes for that VPC and we will close it. 5 to 6 classes it is going to take for VPC setup. Is it okay? All right. Let's start with VPC first now. Can you tell me what is the full form of the VPC?
Virtual Private Cloud.
VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. Okay. Now, here guys, in AWS, we are creating virtual machines. We are creating virtual machines to set up our infrastructure. That virtual machine is having a public IP or not? That virtual machine is having a public IP or not?
Yes.
Public IP. So when our virtual machine is having a public IP, is it secured? No. You are providing public access. Outside people can access. I'm creating my RDS. If somebody know about my RDS credentials, can they access our database or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now I have created RDS. For RDS, do we have any key pair concept? No. Directly username and password. If somebody knows my username and password, they can access our data. So now, is it recommended to expose your EC2 instance for public access?
No.
Not at all recommended. Is it recommended to expose your RDS for public access? Not
No.
at all recommended. Is it recommended to expose S3 buckets for public access? Not at all recommended. But as of now, what we have done in our classes? As of now, what
Do
we
it
have done in
public
our
only.
classes?
Public access.
We are giving
Huh.
public open.
Now, what we have done as of now in our application is, I have created a EC2 instance. I have created EC2 instance. For this EC2 instance, what type of IP is available? What type of IP is available?
Public.
Public and
Public
private.
IP. Public IP is available. Private IP will be there, but can anybody access with private IP? They
No.
cannot access. Public IP is available. People can access with that public IP. Now, I have created S3 buckets. I have created what, guys? S3 buckets. For S3 bucket, we have public URL or not?
Yes.
We are having public URL for S3 bucket or not? If that public URL available for the S3 bucket, then what will happen? If a public URL is available for S3 bucket, then what will happen?
Everyone access.
Everyone can access. Everyone can access. Now, I have created my RDS. I have created my RDS. Public access is available or public access is not available? Public access available for RDS or public access not available for RDS?
Available for audience.
Public access is available for the RDS. Now, what is the problem if you have this public access?
Everyone can access.
What is the problem if you have this public access?
Everyone
Everybody,
access this.
everybody can access. Everybody can access. Now,
If anyone can having the credential, then unwanted data also inserted.
they can access our database and they can access our data. They can delete our data. They can update the data. Total project will be collapsed. Total project will be collapsed. Now tell me, as of now, whatever we have done the configuration in the AWS, are we going to do the same configuration in the real-time project also?
No.
When you go for
No.
the company, can you do the same configuration for your project? Create EC2 with public IP, create S3 with the public buckets, create RDS with the public access. Will you do this kind of infrastructure setup for your project?
No.
If you do this setup for your project, that means you are Amirpet student. Are you a real-time employee or you are Amirpet student? Come on, Amirpet. You just learned the concept. You learn the concept, but you don't know how to use these concepts in the project. Now we need to remove public access for these services. We need to remove public access for these services. We need to create one private network for all these services, guys. We need to create a private network for all these services. How to create now? I will remove this public concept. I will remove this public concept. I will remove this public concept. I will keep everything as a private. In order to keep them in the private network, which is service we are going to use here?
VPN.
VPC. Which is service we are going to use here?
VPC.
VPC. VPC stands for what?
Virtual
Virtual
private
private
Cloud.
cloud.
So what we are going to do using this VPC? We will create a virtual private network. Why we are going to create a virtual private network? To secure our resources in the AWS cloud. In order to secure our resources in the AWS cloud. In order to isolate our infrastructure in the AWS. In order to isolate our infrastructure in the AWS, in order to provide the security for our resources and to avoid the public access for the resources directly, we are going to use this VPC. We are going to use this VPC. Are you guys able to understand this? Now, in order to understand this EC2 instance, let me take one general example. In order to explain you the EC2, let me take one general example. Guys, now you have some land. You have some land. Okay, you have some land. In this land, you want to construct one house. You have some land, guys. In this land, you want to construct some house. Directly, you are going to construct the house in the land, or you will take some measurements for the land.
Measurements.
You will take some measurements. Now, you have taken some measurements for the land. You realize that in this land, we can construct 2 BHK independent house. What is that measurement giving you? 2 BHK independent house you can construct. Now, will you construct your house in the entire land, or you will give some space? Are you going to use the entire space, or you will use some space in the corners?
Space.
You will give some space in the corners for your gardening purpose, for whatever you want, you can use it. Okay, so this is your 2 BHK. Now, will you construct one big room as your house? Will you construct one big room for your house?
No.
Or you will do partitioning?
Partitioning.
Are you going to use
Multiple
a big
rooms.
house, or you will do partitioning?
Partitioning.
Definitely we will do the partitioning. Nobody will construct a single room for the 2 BHK houses, right? 2 BHK means 2 bedroom. Now we need to do some partitioning. How I am going to do this partitioning is, let's observe this, guys. This is very important to understand our VPC. I'm making the concept clear for you. Okay, 1 second. Let me take a straight line. Either I have divided into 2 rooms, guys. This one I am calling as a master bedroom, big bedroom, master bedroom. This one I am calling as a child bedroom. Okay. Now here I have taken kitchen. Here I am taking a kitchen. Let me represent that as a K. K means kitchen. Kitchen. This is hall. Hall. Okay. Is this plan correct now?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. एक master bedroom, एक child bedroom, one kitchen, one hall. Some people will call that hall as a living area also. Now, here for this house, guys, we need gates. We need gates, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Here I am going to keep one main gate for house. This is one main gate for my house. Okay, that means if anybody want to enter into our space, they need to cross the main gate. After that, I am going to create one more gate, that is the main entry gate for our house, that is called hall gate. Okay, then after, for the master bedroom, I will create one gate, door, and here for the child bedroom I will have one door. For kitchen also I will have one door. Here this is called as main gate. This is called as a main gate. This is door. This is door. This is also door. This is also door. Okay, so is this the plan for the house or not?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the plan for our house.
Sir, one room is missing.
कौन सा?
Washroom, sir.
अरे यार इसमें
Sir, toilet.
अटैच आता है भाई.
Master.
Attach.
बहुत important है sir.
ठीक है. I understand, man. I kept it as a attached room. Okay, don't worry. Now, are you able to understand the plan for my house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me why I am creating multiple rooms.
For privacy.
Yes, I don't want to keep a single room so that it will be not good. That's why I'm dividing my room into multiple sub rooms. I'm doing a partitioning: master bedroom, child bedroom, kitchen, living area, that is called hall is available. Now for every room we have a door so that we can enter. For master bedroom, door is there. For child bedroom, door is there. For kitchen also, door is there. For all, main entry door is also available. For our space, there is a main gate is also available. Okay, this is called partitioning. Now guys, anybody can enter directly into our house?
No.
No, what they need to do first?
So main gate they have to
Gate.
enter.
Main gate.
Right. Now here we want everybody to come from the main gate. Everybody will allowed from the main gate, or everybody is not allowed from the main gate?
Everybody allowed.
Everybody allowed from the main gate. They can come to our gate and they can open the gate, they can come. Everybody will come into your house directly and go to all the rooms in your house?
No, sir.
No. Suppose there is a delivery boy available. What the delivery boy will do? They will come to your door, they will knock the door, or they will do calling bell.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you will come out. If that person is a delivery boy, sales executive, you will talk to that person outside of the door only. You will take your delivery, you will send that guy outside. Okay, fine. Suppose your friend is coming to your house. Your friend knocked your calling bell. Then what you will do? Will you talk to your friend outside of the door, or you will invite your friend inside the house?
Inside the house.
Inside the house. Your friend will come inside the house. You will sit in the hall and you will give a coffee to your friend. People will discuss with each other. They will stay in the hall. There is a sofa in the hall. They will sit in the sofa. They will discuss. You will discuss with your friend. Then they will go out. Can your friend will go to your master bedroom, child bedroom, kitchen directly without your permission?
No, sir.
No. They are outside people. They will allow up to hall only. Within the hall, we will sit, we will discuss, then they will leave. Now, okay, fine. Now, your mother is coming. Your mother is coming inside the house. You will talk to your mother only outside of the door? No, she is our family member. She will come to our house. She can go to hall. She can go to kitchen. She can go to master bedroom. She can go to child bedroom because she is our family member. Now guys, here from person to person, the entry permission is changing or not?
Yes, sir.
From person to person, the entry is changing. Similarly, in our project also, we will have the resources. Consider this 2 BHK house as a VPC. Consider this 2 BHK house as a VPC. That means whenever you are setting up a infrastructure for your project, are you going to allow every request? Are you going to allow everybody to access your resources in the AWS?
No, sir.
Are you going to allow everybody to access your resources in the AWS? No. But as of now, what we have done? EC2 people can access. S3 people can access. RDS people can access. Just we have credentials. If they know credentials, they can access. But are you allowing everybody inside into your kitchen, master bedroom, child bedroom, your hall? No, we have some restrictions. If that person is a stranger, you will talk to that person outside of the gate. If that person is your friend, you will allow inside the hall. You will allow that person into hall. If your father or mother is coming, then they will go to any room available in the house because they have that right, they have that permission. Similarly, for my project, I want to create a virtual private network. Why we are going to create a virtual private network? I don't want everybody to access every resource available in my AWS. I want to isolate my network, guys. I want to isolate my network in the AWS. What is the meaning of that isolation? I will call that isolation as what? I will call that isolation as what? VPC. Come on. I will call the isolation as a VPC. Now, are you constructing one single room for your house?
No, sir.
Now, what we are doing for your house? Partitioning you are doing. Partitioning we are doing. Similarly, in the VPC is one virtual private network. in the VPC also, we are going to do partitioning. In the VPC also, what we are going to do, guys? We are going to do partitioning in the VPC. Whatever the partitioning we are doing in the VPC, that is called as subnet. What is that concept, guys?
Subnet.
Subnet 1, subnet 2, subnet 3. Are you going to create a only one subnet, or we are going to create multiple subnets in the VPC?
Multiple subnet.
Why we are creating multiple subnets in the VPC? Partitioning. Partitioning. Now, why I am creating multiple subnets is, here in this subnet, I am going to keep my EC2 servers, or I can keep my application servers, nothing but EC2. App servers I am going to install in the EC2. Now, here I will keep my web servers here. That means load balancer. And I will keep my database here. Am I doing the partitioning or not? In your house, in our house, how you have a master bedroom, child bedroom, kitchen, hall. Similarly, in the VPC also, we are going to do the partitioning. How we will do the partitioning in the VPC? By using which concept we will do the partitioning? By using subnet. By using subnet. Guys, subnets are divided into two types. Subnets are divided into two types. One is called as public subnet. Another one is called as private subnet. Can you guess the difference between public subnet and private subnet? Public subnet means internet connection will be available for that subnet. Private subnet means internet connection will not be available for the subnet. Samjha? Now, are you going to keep your database in the public subnet, or you will keep the database in the private subnet?
Private.
Why you will keep the database in the private subnet?
There is no connection.
Public users cannot access. Outside people can access. Now, I have a computer. If my computer internet is available, I can access outside resources. If internet is not available,
I can't access.
we cannot access. So similarly, when we are creating a virtual network for our project, we are going to do the partitioning of our network by using subnets. Subnet nothing but one partition. In our house, how we have a room, similarly in the AWS VPC, we have a partitioning concept. In our house, partitioning is called as master bedroom, child bedroom, kitchen, hall, living area, something like that. But in the VPC, how you will do the partitioning of your network? By using which concept? By using subnet concept. How many types of subnets we have?
Two types.
Two types.
Two types of subnets we have. Can you tell me what are the types of subnets?
Public,
Public and
Public
private.
subnet and private subnet. What is the difference between public subnet and private subnet?
Private cannot
You have
enable
internet connection.
Public subnet means it will have a internet connection. Private subnet means it will not have a internet connection. Now tell me, you are going to create your AWS resources on the public subnet, or we have to create on the private subnet? Private subnet. If you create on the public subnet, what is the problem?
Everyone can access.
Everyone can access. So that's why what we are going to do, we are going to create that on the private subnet. When we create on the private subnet, no internet connection, people cannot access. People cannot access. Are you guys able to understand this point now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now here, guys, I'm going to keep my app server on the one subnet. I'm going to keep my web server on one subnet. I will keep my RDS on one subnet. All those subnets I will make as a private subnet so that they can not be accessed by outside people. Outside people can access, or outside people cannot access them?
Cannot access.
Outside people cannot access them because they are the private subnets, so people cannot access them directly. Now, do you understand how to provide the security for our AWS resources in the cloud?
Yes.
Yeah, how to secure our resources in the AWS cloud?
Through subnetting VPC.
We are going to create a VPC. We are going to use VPC subnet concept. VPC nothing but logical isolation of our network. What are the resources we are going to use in the AWS cloud? We are going to create those resources by using virtual private cloud. That is a logical isolated entity for our project. That is a logical isolated entity for our project. In that VPC, we are going to do the partitioning we are going to do subnetting. Subnetting means we are going to do the partitioning. That partitioning we will do by using subnets. Subnets can be divided into private and public. Okay. Now guys, everything I'm keeping on the VPC. Now, will you allow public to access your application? Now, why you have a main gate for your house? Everybody can come inside the gate or not?
Yes, sir.
Everybody can come inside the gate or not? Everybody can come inside the gate of our house. Similarly, do you allow public to access your application, or you will not allow the public to access your application?
We will allow
Access the.
We will allow the people to access our application now. That's why I am going to create one gate for my VPC. Why we need a gate for our VPC? People should be able to access our application. Will you allow the people to access your application, or you will not allow the people to access your application? We will allow the people to. We will. अरे बाबा, application allow करता, application I allow नहीं करता.
नहीं allow करता है.
हाँ, application we have to allow. That means we will allow only few people, or everybody can access your application.
Everybody can access.
Everybody can access your application. So you need to provide. Access for your application or not.
Yes, sir.
Request will come to your application. Response also will go from your application. Here, if you want to allow the people to access your VPC, that's where there is a concept called internet gateway. What is the concept available in the VPC, guys? To allow the people to access our VPC. Now I have a question. People are accessing our subnets directly, or people are accessing VPC?
Accessing
People are accessing the subnet, or people are accessing the VPC?
VPC.
People cannot access the subnets, guys, because I will keep my subnets as a private subnet. If I keep my subnet as a public,
Everyone can access.
everyone can access. But will you keep your resources on the public subnets? Will you keep your
No.
database on the public subnet?
No.
If you keep your database on the public subnet, washing powder, Nirma, everything will be clean.
Sir, I have one question, sir.
1 second. Will you keep your database on the public subnet?
No, sir.
If you keep your database on the public subnet, what is the
No, sir.
problem?
Everyone
They
can
will
access.
clean your data. They will delete your data. Yes or no?
Yes.
So always our resources should be on the private subnets so that people cannot access. But people should access our VPC, virtual private network. How can we allow the people to access our VPC? By using
Internet
which
gateway.
concept?
Internet gateway.
Internet gateway. Internet gateway is used to allow the people to access our VPC. Access our VPC. Within the VPC, our AWS resources are available and our application is also running. Okay. Now, once they come inside the VPC, can they access everything?
No, sir.
Can they access everything?
No, only
No.
app server.
No, they cannot access everything. They cannot access everything. What they can access in our application? When a request
Only app
comes,
server.
that request should go to app server, a request should go to web server, a request should go to database. How we will do that configuration? For that, there is a concept called routing table. What is the concept available, guys?
Routing table.
Routing table will be available. This routing table will have the routing of this app server, web server, and RDS. When a request comes here, that request will go to what? Routing table. What that routing table will do? It will access
Face the
particular
address.
subnet. It will access particular subnet. Routing table is available inside our VPC. Routing table can access the subnets. Routing table cannot access the subnet.
Can access the
Routing table
subnet.
can access the subnet because it is available within the VPC now.
Yes.
Outside people cannot access subnets directly. but our routing table is available within the VPC. Whenever a request comes to our VPC through internet gateway, that request will go to what? Routing table. What will be there in the routing table? Which request should go
Subnet.
to which subnet? That configuration will be available in the routing table. Now tell me, your subnets are public or your subnets are private?
Private.
Private subnet. Private subnet means internet connection is available or internet connection is not available?
Not available.
Internet connection is not available. Okay, internet connection is not available. When the internet connection is not available, can I download the code from the Git repository to my system?
No.
No.
Git repository is available in our VPC or Git repository is outside?
Outside.
Git repository is available in the outside. Do you have internet connection to download the Git repository?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have internet connection for private subnet?
No.
No.
Arey Baba, I'm asking a question. Your application server is running on which subnet?
Private.
Public subnet or private subnet?
Private.
Application server is running on private subnet. Private subnet means network is available or network is not available?
No,
Not
Not available.
Not available. If the network is not available, can it access the GitHub?
No, sir.
No.
Can it access the GitHub?
No.
No. If I keep it on the public subnet,
You can access.
We can access.
everybody, I can access, but everybody also can access that now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If I keep in the public subnet, what is the problem?
Everyone.
Everyone
Everyone
can
can access.
Everybody can access. Everybody can access. Now, I want a network for the subnet, but outside people should not access, but that can access outside resources. Are you
Route
understanding my
table.
point?
Yes, sir.
Are you understanding my point? Now, for this application server, incoming traffic should not be allowed, but it can access outside resources. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
What is my requirement for this subnet now? For this subnet, this is a private subnet only. This private subnet should not have the incoming access, but this should have the outgoing access. Are you understanding my point?
Yes, sir.
My instance, my subnet can access the GitHub. GitHub is outside of my network, but people should not access my system. People should not access my system, but my system can access the outside resources. That for that purpose, we are going to use a concept in the AWS that is called NAT gateway. What is the concept we are going to use in the AWS, guys?
NAT gate.
Net.
What is the concept we are going to use in the VPC now?
NAT gateway.
NAT gateway. What is the purpose of NAT gateway?
Only outgoing. No.
Address
Only
translation.
outgoing network.
Outgoing.
Only now my private subnets are connected to NAT gateway. When my private subnets are connected to NAT gateway, what will happen? Public can
No.
access my subnet.
No, sir.
No.
But can my
No.
subnet access the outside network?
Yes,
Yes.
That's where we are going to use what,
Yes.
guys?
sir.
NAT gateway.
NAT gateway.
NAT gateway. Now, so what concepts we have discussed as of now?
VPC.
VPC. Tell me now,
Internet
Subnet.
gateway, routing table,
Can you
NAT,
tell me-
VPC.
can you tell me what topics we discussed as of now? We discussed about VPC. We discussed about VPC.
VPC,
VPC
internet
stands
gateway.
for VPC stands for
Virtual
virtual
Private
private
cloud.
cloud. Then after that we discussed about
Subnet.
subnets. What is the purpose of subnets?
Partition.
Subnets are used for partition. Subnets are used for what? Subnets are used for partition.
Partitioning.
Next one, we discussed about internet gateway. We discussed about internet gateway. What is the purpose of internet gateway? What is the purpose of internet gateway? To allow the
Incoming
incoming and outgoing. Incoming and outgoing.
Outgoing.
Incoming and outgoing. Then what is route table?
To map to the particular.
Which request should go to which subnet that will be mapped? That mapping will be done by using route table. Route table. Then what is a NAT gateways?
NAT gateway can
For
only incoming. No outgoing.
What is a NAT gateway?
Avoiding
Access outside of the network.
without no incoming but only
Outgoing.
outgoing. No incoming but only no incoming but outgoing. That means people cannot access our machine, but our machine can access outside resources. That is called NAT gateway. Now here we have VPC, we have subnets, we have internet gateway, we have route table, and we have NAT gateway. Got my point, guys? Now,
Yes, sir.
are we dealing with any security here?
No.
Are we dealing with any port numbers here and security here?
No.
No. We don't have any security. We don't have any ports here. Without opening the ports, can they access?
No, sir.
No. Then what we need to do? We need to configure the securities for our resources or not?
Yes, sir.
How to provide, how to allow the protocols for our subnet, how to allow the protocols in our instances? By using security groups. Security group. By using security group, I can allow the traffic. HTTP protocol, SSH protocol, TCP protocol, like that I can allow the traffic by using security group. Can we deny particular request from my subnet?
No.
Can I deny particular request?
No, sir. We can't.
Security will support for only what?
Incoming.
Who can
Incoming.
access? Who can access? Can I decide that this person should not allow? Can I decide like that?
No.
Then what we can do? What we need to do if we want to deny a particular request? Additional security if you want to provide? NACL, network access control list. What is that? Network access control list we need to do by using NACL. Now tell me, if you want to go with the VPC, then what are the concepts you need to know?
Subnet,
VPC, subnets, internet gateway, route table, NAT gateway, security group, NACL. If you, along with these things, we need to know about the IP addresses also. Then only we can go for virtual private cloud. Now tell me, is it easy to do all this setup now?
No, sir.
That's why I told you VPC is a little complex and confusing topic, guys. Now you got the basic clarity what is VPC?
Yes, sir.
Just introduction for the VPC. VPC stands for virtual private cloud. VPC stands for virtual private cloud. So we are going to isolate our network in the AWS by using VPC. In the VPC, we are going to do the partitioning. How we will do the partitioning? Subnet. We are going to use only one subnet, or we are going to use multiple subnets?
Multiple subnets.
In one subnet, I will keep a app server. In one subnet, I will keep my web server. In one subnet, I will keep my RDS. In one subnet, I will keep my S3 buckets. Okay. Now, are you going to keep your resources on the public subnets, or you are going to keep your resources on the private subnets?
Private subnet.
Why we will keep on the private subnet? So that nobody can access our application. Okay. Now, will you provide the access for your VPC for the public? You will not provide the access for your VPC for the public?
No, we can't.
VPC.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
VPC can be accessed by the public. How can you provide the public access for your VPC? Which concept you will use?
Internet gateway.
Internet gateway. Internet gateway means what? Everybody can access. They are accessing your VPC, or they are accessing your subnets?
They are accessing VPC.
They are accessing only VPC through internet gateway. When the request comes to the internet gateway will directly access the subnet, or internet gateway will talk to the routing table?
Routing table.
Internet gateway will talk to the routing table. What is that routing table? It will know which request should access which subnet. Which request should access which subnet. That will be there in the routing table. Now, how can you provide only outgoing network for the subnet without incoming network?
NAT
gateway. When you add the NAT gateway for the subnet, what your subnet can do? Your subnet can access outside the network, but nobody can access your subnet. Is it a security or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, here we need to open some protocols on the subnets. HTTP protocol, SSH protocol. How can you open your protocols in the AWS?
Security group.
Security group. But what is the problem with the security group?
only we can, we can't deny any.
We can allow the people.
We can
We can
restrict the
allow the
particular
people.
user.
But can I restrict a particular request?
No, sir.
No.
No. Then if I want additional security for my subnet, then
Yes,
security
yes.
group is sufficient or security group is not sufficient?
Not sufficient.
Not sufficient.
Not sufficient. Then which security technique we need to apply?
NACL.
NACL. NACL stands for
Network access
Network
control and
Access Control.
Control list.
Network Access Control List.
Control.
Now, by using all these concepts, we need to create a VPC for our resources. This is what people will do in the real time. Now we know how to use the resources, but how to set up the resources by using VPC, that we have to understand.
Yes, sir.
Are you clear with my point now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I have
sir.
one question, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Tomorrow we are going to
So I have one
understand.
question, sir.
Tomorrow we are going to
Good night, sir.
understand some more details about the VPC. There is a concept called subnetting, IP ranges, that we need to understand tomorrow. Once we understand the concept theoretically, then we can go for practical implementation.
I have one question, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir. What is your question?
The applications or microservices deployed within VPC can access database.
Yes, right.
But sometimes we access database from outside, like using DBeaver or PG
No, no, no. That database that you are
VPC.
accessing now, the database that you are accessing, it is a test DB or development DB. That can be having on the public subnet. Your production DB available on the private database. Let me tell you, sir. In the application, we will have multiple environments now. Dev environment, QA environment, U8 environment, production environment. Yeah, prod environment will be available on what?
Private.
Dev environment,
Public.
within the public, with the VPN connections will be available. VPN concept will be there within your company. You can access that. Got it? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, good. Fine, guys. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. Tomorrow also we need to understand some more details related to.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Yes.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.